Hi everyone, it's Louise from Lulu Purple. Today I'm going to be showing you a mixed media piece which I called Time. So first of all, I am using a piece of craft card and I'm going to cover it with a layer of white gesso. Once the gesso had dried, I then used my distress paints to paint over the top. So I'm starting with wild honey and I'm just thinking about how I'm going to do this. So at first I thought I could just paint it, dry brushing it onto the card, but then I changed my mind and decided to give it a whole base coat of the wild honey. I then used my heat tool to dry the first layer of paint. I am now using Rusty Hinge and I'm just using a dry brush to try and get different shades of colour going on. I then use a vintage photo around the outside edges to make the outside a bit darker than the rest of it. Once that had all dried, I then used my vintage photo to go around the outside edges of my card. I have cut out some different size pieces of scrap card and I'm just going to show you how I distress the edges using a pair of scissors. I don't have a distress tool and scissors work just as well, but you just have to be careful of your fingers. Next, I'm going to use my vintage photo distress ink with a blending tool to distress all the edges of my pieces of paper. Okay, so I thought I'd share with you how I store my blending foam pads on a piece of card with some sticky Velcro stuck onto it, and then I just name each pad underneath, so that when you come to use a certain colour you can just pull it off, and then when you've finished I just store it in an A4 wallet to keep it all clean and tidy. Now I'm going to use my metallic paint Rich Espresso and I'm going to paint it onto some die cuts and a wooden die cut of some cogs. This metallic paint has dried already, so I'm going in with a second coat over my cogs. I then use my dark patina coloured metallic paint and I'm just dry brushing this on randomly over the cog. Next I use my Splendid Gold metallic paint and do exactly the same thing. Next I use my Peacock Pearl metallic paint, and again with a dry brush just adding bits randomly around the cog. As you can now see, this gives it an aged look. And this is them all finished, just showing you a close-up so you can see what they all look like. I'm now going to use my archival ink pad Sepia and a clock stencil by Tim Holtz, and I'm just going through the stencil with my blending tool. I am now using a wet wipe to take off some of the ink so that it's duller in the background and not so bright. I am now using the Creative Expressions clock face background stamp, and I'm just randomly stamping onto the back of the card. So again, I'm using a wet wipe just to knock back some of the colour so that it's more in the background rather than in your face. I am now going to use my jet black archival ink pads to go around the outside edges of my piece of card to give it a border. I am now going to use my Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue to stick down all my cogs and pieces of paper. I'm using some foam pads on one side of my cog because the layers of paper had lifted it up, so rather than sticking it flat down onto the side of the paper, I used the foam pads to raise it up so it looks more dimensional. have printed the word time on a piece of copy paper, and I'm just going over the back with a HB pencil to cover the whole backside of the word. I then tape this into place, and I'm going to trace around the outside edge of the word time. This will leave a layer of pencil mark on the actual piece of card where I want the word time. I am now going to use my foodball pen to go around the pencil line that I created on the piece of card and colour it in. I am now going to use my Signo Uniball white pen to add some highlights to my word. I then use my Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue to stick my card to my frame. I am now using my black archival ink pad with my blending tool and a stencil from Tim Holtz called Dot Fade to add a bit more interest to my background. I have added some pieces of string to my frame, and I've also used a clock face charm from Creative Expressions, and I'm going to stick these down with my Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue. So now that has all dried, I am going to use my Ranger Crackle accents to fill in the frame front. I am now just using a pin to get rid of all the air bubbles. I then leave this overnight to dry, and in the morning, as you will see in a second, there you go, you can see all the crackles have appeared. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Links to my website, Facebook and more will be in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you got inspired.